Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 11 of the anime series Myriad Colors Phantom World. And I thought this was a really sweet episode. At first, without having any sort of precursor, prologue, a little bit with Haruhiko and everything, I was a little dismayed. I was like, what exactly is going to be going on here? And then we have Mai with a child that I didn't immediately recognize as being Haruhiko, saying she's the phantom hunting mom, and I'm like, what? Like, she has a kid? This whole time she's had a kid and we didn't know? And so we find out a few days previous to that, in this little park, they're being attacked by a sort of sandman phantom. We find that at one point Haruhiko went home alone, as he is usually wont to do, and he found this thing in his desk, a little box that had a lot of stuff calling back to his elementary school days, and there was an essay. And we don't know the contents of the essay right off the bat, but you could tell that this was the form and function of his transformation. At least that was my assumption all the way through the episode, and then we find out confirmation toward the end that yes, in fact, that's what led to it. It's kind of a product of his own abilities coinciding with his mental status, like we've seen previously with Karumi, as Mai points out toward the end of the episode. And it's interesting. He reverts back to elementary school age, and you got his buddy thinking he's in the prime of his life. He's what, 10? And that's the prime of his life, with all the women thinking he's kawaii and losing their crap over it and everything. And Mai becomes very much semi-maternal. And I really loved that aspect of strengthening the bonds between them, even though it was quite different, because, this is a Haru who doesn't have any of his adult memories or teenage memories, whatever you want to call it. He's very much a child, but, a lot of their interactions was just what made the episode to me, seeing how maternal Mai can be. And the comedic elements, I mean, and at one point you have Ruru admitting, actually, I thought it was interesting. It was a two-part thing where we find out they actually met in, like, middle school, she and Haruhiko, but then trying to spur on his, sort of reformatting back to his teenage years, she gets this, like, boob mag, girls in swimsuits, and he almost explodes over that, trying to help Mai because she's losing sleep over this. She has the responsibility of a kid, her classroom work, and hunting phantoms, all that kind of stuff. It seems like it goes on for a bit longer than I think it actually did. Like, it seems like this only lasted maybe a few days, half a week or whatever it is. But it seems like a lot more of that time that had passed by was bogged down because here is Mai, a teenager herself in her own right, now dealing with a child, a sort of ball and chain, if you will, in a very pedantic, snarky little Haruhiko who is, even at that age, reading books beyond his years and very smart and all that kind of stuff. So all of that was comical and charming. And you have this, as I say, Sandman Phantom that just comes out of nowhere, not really pertaining to anything to do with the episode. It's just like, let's throw a phantom in there because we got to have something to snap Haru back out of it, to see and appreciate his elder years, not very many years, but, something that'll make him want to be an adult or a teenager again, and it's saving the life of Mai. And again, the idea of strengthening the bond between them. Even though he doesn't carry over any memories of anything that happened, it still says to me there's a bond strengthening there, especially on Mai's side. She remembers all of this, so that to me, she is now able to look at, and we've seen hints of this before. A couple of you guys have pointed out in the comments as well, and we've talked about back and forth Mai's growing appreciation of Haru, and it's like borderline almost shipping them, seeing them come together. I like them as a pair. I like them as a duo. I don't think, within the confines of the series, by the end of it, we're going to see anything come to fruition along those lines, but it's something for the, far off distant future to keep in mind. Maybe they could hook up at some point, maybe not, that kind of thing. But I really thoroughly loved his transforming bag, even though he's got nothing but underwear on. And he uses Cthulhu, he summons Cthulhu to take out this Sandman Phantom, and all is pretty much hunky-dory. And then we find, nobody knows, it's inexplicable for the majority of the characters, how did this happen? And he remembers the last thing he was doing was looking through this box and reading this essay. And you have those moments where he's seeing a child playing with his parents in the park on the swings and all that kind of stuff. And I have noted many a time that he seems to be a very lonely character. And, you know, his house is always empty, and his father, so far as we're told in this episode, travels the world due to business. His mother left and all this kind of stuff. It's really heartbreaking in a sense, but it really actually brought me to the point of tears when Mai read the essay. What happened that Sunday? And I'm getting a little choked up now, because he completely made up a really happy memory with his parents. And it's, especially as someone who lost my parents early on in life, I can highly relate to many a day without them being around. So I think it really greatly impacted me, that much more so, when she starts to cry and she realizes that he did make this up, this happier time. And as I say, by the end, their bond is strengthened for it. So while it was a little strange at first to get my bearings and what the hell was going on in the episode, it really rounded out with a strong emotional impact that I can give it no more accolades for. You know, like, to bring me to tears, to make me feel that much for Haru and champion Haru and Mai's pseudo coming together, or at least the bond between them strengthening. It was a beautiful episode in the end. And so I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 11 of Myriad Colors Phantom World. If you've seen it, if you enjoyed it as much as I did, if you found it to be as emotionally impactful as I did you think it resonated well, or resonates in its finale, and all that good stuff. Love it or hate it, let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. Love having that conversation. And otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.